All right, I want to talk about Ronda Rousey right now just a little bit because Ronda Rousey's back in the news. She had this she wrote her own book about her career, her story, her own biography with her sister. It's called My Fight, Your Fight, and Our Fight. And then her agency was like, we'd like to take this to the network. They want to go to Paramount initially. And they said, you write a script for it. And she wrote it within 7 days by herself, apparently. And they say they love it. They say she's a natural at writing this. I have to read it to believe it. I mean, maybe she is, and that's fantastic. But I know that they're very excited about the project, so much so Paramount picked it up for a while. And of course, they would talk about all the issues they've been having. So Netflix has now picked it up, and they officially greenlit it, and now it's moving forward through them. Of course, she's not going to be playing herself, but she is going to be showrunner, and she wrote the script, and she's pushing forward her career. And she's had quite the career too. Ronda Rousey. It's so sorry to say that so many times, but after she did her fighting, actual MMA stuff to going to WWE to going back to MMA to being a mother and everything in between, she has had quite the career, and I think that she is freaking amazing. And I think this could be a good story to tell. I think it could be a really empowering story that could really do well on Netflix, and I think it could be maybe an award-winning movie, maybe or maybe not. Am I way off here? Rachel's shaking her head. I mean, it's a pretty great story. I think she has a great story.
Do you need biopics for people who are in their 30s? Have more bio first. Jesus Christ.
You say we should wait for another 20, 30 more years, Rachel?
Yeah, absolutely. You can't tell a story while it's still being written. Take some time.
But she was
your life goes.
Women's champion WWE.
Good for her. She's had a lot of accomplishments. But do we need a biopic when she's still in her 30s?
That's good. That's a good question. That's a very good question. Do you see there's an audience for her at all in this?
Sure. I think there would be more of an audience. You waited another 20 years, let your legacy build a little bit.
Yeah. Well, she's trying. Are you surprised that
unless she doesn't think she's going to have much of a legacy. She's trying to cash in fast.
Well, that's what I wonder. I wonder if she's at that point where she doesn't want to do it anymore. I mean, of course, MMA stuff, fighting stuff, really, you get to a certain age, you really don't want to do it anymore. Yeah. It takes a toll on your body. She went to the WWE. Usually that's your ending,
She also act. She could do a Dwayne The Rock Johnson and pivot into acting.
Yeah, and they could cover that whole part of her life too.
Right. She could do sports commentary. She could host a show. She could do all sorts of things. There are all sorts of things she can do without being in the ring itself.
That's very true. And she'd be maybe a big-time commentator. The acting thing is always big. I know she was on 911. She's popped up here and there in movies, playing herself normally.
I feel like it feeds into the Hollywood stereotype that after 35, if you're a woman, your career's pretty much over.
It sucks. So it shouldn't be like that, though.
Don't feed into that, Rhonda.
Yeah, don't do it. Get back in that ring and keep fighting.
Story to tell. Just wait a few years.
Yeah.
Just taking it one day at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time, Pep Star. What do you think, Lexi? Do you feel the same way that she's way too young for a biopic, that nobody should be picking this up right now? Or is this a good story? She's had a fulfilling career already. That's enough to get in there. And maybe we do a part 2 someday.
First of all, whatever happened to the fucking Roadhouse movie that she was supposed to be doing?
Everything freaking. They had the one that came out on Amazon, but she wasn't in that one, was she? With Jake Gyllenhaal.
Roadhouse, and they were supposed to have her as the role of Patrick Swayze. There was that whole thing. And isn't it a decline in your success to go from an MMA champion, like a UFC champion, to a WWA champion? Isn't that
you're getting that wrestling world
fighter to fakeness?
It does seem like that's at the end of your career.
WWE is fake. It's not real. It's
right.
So, I mean, I know
wrestling's not fake.
Okay. I mean, it takes a certain degree of physical. I'm not saying it doesn't take the physical because I study wrestling, but it's not real. It's not the same as MMA. MMA is genuinely real. I mean, she was a badass.
Thank you, Queen.
One of the best female mixed martial arts fighters in the world, and then she goes and does fucking wrestling. I'm like, I don't know. I see the money. I see where the money comes from, but I don't see why. I mean, you're already basically going into acting by going into the WWE, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it is. Your sports entertainment, they go by.
I mean, you're in the same place as fucking Jake what was it, Jake Paul. I mean, if you're in the same arena as Jake Paul, I don't know. I can't take it seriously at that point.
And he's like, I'm a champion, but I'm also a fighter. But I'm like, I'm a content creator.
Shit attached to him than anything on the world, and it's like, seriously.
That's
so, I don't know. And like, it's like, what's her story? Her story is that she was, actually a really respectable, decent fighter who went out. It's kind of similar to the Danica Patrick story, where like, she was actually a really respectable race car driver, and then went into NASCAR and just kept crashing into everything and completely destroyed her career. It was like, I agree. I think it's really trying to stay relevant because, like, she was also supposed to be in more Fast and the Furious films.
Yes, she was.
A large role. She only had like a very small part. She was supposed to be like a larger character in those films. She was supposed to have larger acting roles. She was supposed to be the next big thing in Hollywood. They were trying to prime her for the next action star, like the big female action star. They were priming her to be an Arnold. They were priming her to be, I don't know what happened to her. Like, I heard nothing but like, this woman's going to be in this film. Never saw her. She was supposed to be in the Expendables. She was supposed to be in, what happened to that? What happened to this movie? What happened to that movie? Every fucking action movie I heard that she was supposed to be in the 2010s that I heard.
She sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, everything fell apart. And I heard like that she is, a bad person necessarily. I never heard like that she shoots her mouth off. I never heard, stuff similar to like that Gianna, whatever, the Star Wars woman, like that kind of stuff. It never seemed like it was that kind of a deal where it just seemed like she was arrogant. She was conceited. I did hear, but like, she's a fighter. Like, so Arnold Schwarzenegger is arrogant, conceited too. Like, what's your fucking point? Like, when you're at the peak of your career and you're in your early 20s, you have a little bit of like leeway with some of that shit. Like, but I don't think she did anything to necessarily like sabotage herself that I could see. But like, I don't know. The fact that this is the best that we've got for her in all this time period.
I think on Netflix. I would say, like, one of my friends worked on a TV show with her, and his son was a big fan of her, and she's like, FaceTime your son right now so I can talk to him. And so he literally pulled out his phone and FaceTimed his kid, and it made his kid's day. So that was kind of cool, But not everybody does that.
More like she was like China from WWE than But China was always a wonderful person. She died.
Yeah.
So.
R.I.P. She had quite the career too. And she actually laid the framework for a lot of people's careers.
Really
too. A lot of people didn't have a path until she came around. Yeah,
it's a shame what happened with her. Genuinely.
Jake, how do you feel about this too, man? Do you think that Ronda Rousey, Rowdy Rousey, can have a biopic right now, and Netflix should be producing this? They're being a little bit quiet about it. They're not saying too many details. Do you think it's good, or do you think, again, like we're kind of saying here, that maybe it's just not the right time, and like what's happening to her career right now?
I don't know. It could be a stab to see what the next step could be, because if this fails, then she's done. And if somehow it's popular and people, seem to like it, then they're going to capitalize on everything, and she's going to go the route of The Rock, So I don't know. I don't think she's ever been in a role where she's been able to like prove herself as an actor. There hasn't been enough substance there. So we'll see. But she probably won't play herself in this, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, she's not going to play herself. Okay. They're going to cast somebody else to play her.
Yeah, I don't know. It could just be her agent trying to get as much money out of her that they can before she moves to a new one.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens. They're like, you got to give me this one thing before you go. So that could be a part of it too.
Yeah, I know there was the agents that wanted her to go and do this, and so she wrote the script for them. I think she's at William Morris Endeavor, though. So, I mean, like, she's pretty high up there. So,
right.
Honestly, maybe you're right. Maybe that's like one of those things they're just trying to see if this works, got nothing else for her. And they're like, maybe this is going to be your swan song. But we'll have to wait and see. But honestly, it does seem, I didn't think about that before we came to this conversation. It does seem a little bit too soon for this to be happening for her. And I don't know. We'll see if the fan base comes out when it's all said and done. We'll have to wait and see, because biopics usually do this. It's like, and it's someone's career, and it's good for like Oscar season and all that. I just don't see this going that route. But let us know, guys, what you think. Ronda Rousey's doing a Netflix show.
Timothy Chalamet's going to play her.
Yeah, he gets everything.
Michelle can do whatever he wants.
He gets everything in every role he wants. He just says, "Hey, give me the money, show me the money, and I'm there."
He's not buff enough to play her though.
No, he's definitely
still got
not.
the role. He's fine. He's got this. Chalamet.
Chalamet. Oh, Chalamet. Fail.
Wow.
Thanks, Peps. I mean, Peppy, what do you think?
Dumb.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb, but it's happening. Get ready for it.